What's going on, everyone? I'm Rhett Shull. Welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at the Vertex Steel String Clean Drive. Vertex sent this over to me about a month and a half ago, and I've really enjoyed my time with this pedal. So today I'm going to take you through how I got the sounds that you heard in the track at the beginning of the video and kind of explain the whole philosophy behind the Steel String Clean Drive. So this is an amp in a box style pedal, and what's cool about the Steel String Clean Drive is it was designed alongside a real Dumble steel string singer. In fact, I think the one they got their hands on was serial number 1, so that's kind of cool. If you don't know the steel string singer, you've heard it on Texas Flood, you've heard it on Continuum by John Mayer. I mean, it's a really famous amp. In fact, I think John Mayer had one out on tour for a while, which is crazy when you think about how expensive a real Dumble is. So this pedal essentially sets out to capture the spirit and the vibe of the Dumble in something that fits on your pedal board. Now, I've never played an original Dumble steel string singer, so I can't really compare the pedal to the real amp. But what I can tell you is what I think this pedal does really well and who I think this pedal would be good for. So in the track at the beginning of the video, for almost every single guitar track, I was using a totally clean amp. I was using the Port City Pearl over my shoulder here, which is a 50 watt 6L6 all clean, basically pedal platform amp. The Pearl is actually known for being sort of a blank canvas and almost lacking any sort of character in one way or another. And while that might sound like a diss towards the amp, it's not, because it was really designed to use whatever pedals you have to get a really unique tone. So I like using the Pearl for demos because it really lets the character of whatever pedal I'm demoing come through. Now, this is what I think the Steel String is great at. It's taking a clean amp, something like a Deluxe or a Twin or a Pearl or something like that, and giving it a lot of character and a lot of vibe. So in the main track with my 335, that breakup tone, that sort of gritty amp overdrive, was not the amp itself, it was all the Steel String Clean Drive. So that kind of gives you an idea of the character that this pedal can add to a clean amp. Then I wanted to see how the Steel String worked with delay and reverb. So in the second track, I used my Black Falcon and had that sort of lo-fi tape reverb sound. And then on the other track, I used my Strat with a big washy reverb. Now, the other thing the Steel String is good at is tone shaping and using almost like an EQ. So this little knob here in the middle is a filter control, and essentially what it does is controls the mid-range. It's essentially like an EQ boost for your low mid to high mid in the frequency spectrum. For a guitar like my Mayer Strat, this guitar is characteristically mid-scooped. It has John Mayer's signature Big Dipper pickups, which are super mid-scooped. So with the Steel String, what I did was keep the filter knob at about 11 o'clock. And what that did was boost basically right around the mid-range to make up for the mid-range cut that these Big Dippers have. Conversely, if you have a guitar, maybe a humbucker guitar that has a lot of low-mid buildup, you can then crank the filter control all the way up, or to about 3 or 4 o'clock, which is almost all the way up, and have it accentuate more of the high mids, which will let your tone cut through a mix a little bit better. The other cool thing it does is acts as a compressor. So as you start to bring your master volume and your gain controls up, it's going to add more compression like a real amp would. Like an amp going into overdrive adds a natural compression. Now, you don't have control over things like threshold and attack and release times like you would with a full compressor pedal, but if you don't want to get into a compressor territory, you could essentially use this as like a clean boost and a compressor in one pedal. That's one thing that I started doing with it when I had it on my board and I had a few gigs with this pedal, is I was essentially using it as a clean boost compressor combo, just to kind of even out everything. So the gain control is interesting. When you are at 12 o'clock and below, it acts as basically more of a clean boost. Once you get past 12, it turns into more of an overdrive, and you get a really, really mid-heavy overdrive from it. And then you have your master volume control, which again, if you wanted to run this as a clean boost, I would bring the gain down and the volume up, and you've got a nice compressed, clean boosted signal, which is awesome. Another thing that Vertex does, which is cool, is include this little card in the box that gives you a couple of different suggested settings on here. And I actually used these for the track. So for the opening section with my 335, I was using the gravity setting, which again is acting more like a clean boost, slight overdrive, with the mid-range control cranked all the way up to compensate for my humbuckers. And then for the solo tone with my Strat, I was using the EJ setting. I was playing through my divided by 13. I wanted to see how the steel string reacted with an amp on the edge of breakup, and so that's what the solo tone with the Strat was. So who do I think this pedal is good for? Well, if you have an all clean amp, sort of a pedal platform, and you want something to act as kind of an always on sort of amp in a box type tone, this is a really cool option. So for me, this is going to be a backline amp pedal. When I'm on the road, especially for fly dates, a lot of times I will get stuck with a Fender Twin or something like that, which are not my favorite amps. And so for me, the steel string is going to be the go-to pedal to kind of take a backline amp like that and give it some character, give it some grit and some drive, and let it act more like the amps that I really love, like my Divided by 13 or the Morgan AC20. The way I normally run my amps is right on the edge of breakup, and if you've ever played a Fender Twin, you know they don't really do that until you get to a punishing volume. So the steel string clean drive for me will be that, just like an always on, push the amp towards the edge of breakup, add a little character and a little mid-range to help me cut through a mix. That's how I plan on using it. I also think it makes a really great boost pedal. If you watched my stacking overdrives video that I did a few weeks ago, you saw this pedal featured in that video, and you kind of get an idea of how well it plays with other pedals like the Greer Lightspeed. And so I think that's a really good option for it too, is acting as a boost to mild overdrive to stack with another overdrive to give you kind of a unique lead tone or rhythm tone, something like that. So there you go. That's my look at the Vertex Steel String Clean Drive. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If there's anything you'd like to see me demo moving forward, let me know by leaving a comment in the section down below and tell me what you want me to demo and make a full track out of and talk about here on the channel. In the description box down below, you can find links to where you can buy a Steel String Clean Drive if you're interested, as well as links to my Patreon page and Amazon affiliate. So if you want to support the channel, you can do it through there. Anyways, I'm Rhett Shull. Thanks for watching, and remember, there is no plan B.